Hello. Hello, good evening.
Teacher.
Hi, Tanya.
Hi.
How's everything? Good?
Yes, teacher.
Oh,
Tired but good.
tired?
Yes, a little bit.
A little bit.
Yes.
Okay, that's normal.
Yes.
Especially when you play when you were with children.
Uh-huh. It's playing all day. We are
Mm,
playing all day. So it's
yeah, that's true. Okay, let me see. Okay, so let's wait to the others. I don't know. Jaime, Fernando. Good evening, Jaime.
Good evening, teacher. How are you?
How's everything?
Oh,
How
sorry,
is
teacher.
how is everything?
Oh, fine, teacher. Everything is fine.
Everything's
Uh,
fine.
yes, teacher. I think so.
Okay, that's good. Let me see. Jaime Fernando Parada Chávez.
Teacher, according to the lecture, are very interesting.
The reading.
The readings, yeah.
Okay, remember, Fernando, that a lecture is like a conference.
Ah, okay, teacher.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's different.
Okay,
Yeah,
teacher.
the reading was about the skills for the 21st century, right? Skills for the 21st century.
No, teacher. So sorry. Good evening. The readings is about teachers.
Yes,
Yeah. The skills was for last class.
Yeah, the last
yes,
class
teacher.
it was about the century. For this week is about teachers.
Mhm.
Okay, right. This week is about teachers. Good teachers, right?
Good teachers.
Okay, right. So talking about good teachers, I remember that you had kind of a task for today's class. Do you remember your task?
It's about one paragraph about the readings. For about strengths and weaknesses.
But not about the readings.
Uh, yes, teacher.
No.
No.
What do you remember?
About the readings, teacher. Uh,
No, it was not about the readings. Was it about the readings?
about
Hello.
my strengths and my weaknesses.
Yes.
Okay. But you say that it was according to the readings.
It has to be related.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Uh-huh.
So I read the readings, and then I compare my teaching with the readings. So it's
Okay.
was the, the task.
Okay, Luis Carlos, thank you. Okay, Fernando, thank you for telling me that. So, but this is a paragraph, what you have to do, right? What you had to do. So, I would like you to start sharing that paragraph if you want. Sharing that paragraph that you wrote. Could you please start sharing, Jaime?
Yes,
Jaime?
teacher. Yes, teacher.
Okay.
Uh, so, some witnesses that I have encountered in the classroom in that sometimes I don't remember or change the name of the students, and I have to point them out to address them. Uh, I must admit that uh, on some occasions I made sarcastic comments about their performance. Another of my weaknesses is that I don't use variation of the voice, nor gesticulate or use facial expressions or mimics to demonstrate or emphasize feelings or simply highlight some important point of the lesson. A very important weakness that I must recognize is that due to my fears regarding their level, I don't encourage them to use English in an authentic way. On the other hand, I can also recognize that I do not have any kind of favoritism for any of them, and I feel that the rapport is very good. Although I mentioned earlier that I should promote more the use of English, it is also true that when I use Spanish to give indications or clarify some important point, they perform much better.
Mm-hmm.
I, I also believe that through technological resources such as video and audios and other printed materials such as flashcards and worksheets, they are exposed to an English environment. That's all, teacher.
Okay, but very good, Fernando. You make a very good reflection. And you
Thank you,
pointed
teacher.
out very interesting points. For example, the first one that has to do with knowing your own students,
Yes,
right?
teacher. See, sometimes I can't remember the names of my students.
Okay.
I think that is because some of them is the first time that I work with them. And
Uh-huh.
although there are a few students, is a problem. It's a problem with my brain that I don't remember anything that happened around me.
But then you have to use some techniques in order to remember your students because they need to be recognized. You can ask them they to as a first activity that you can do. Maybe you can ask them they to write their own name and put it on on a label so you can call them by their names. Do you understand what I mean?
Uh, so teachers,
Right.
can you?
Like drawing a. I can't raise it. Okay, Luis Carlos, don't worry. I can. Sorry, es que me pongo a leer los chats y me desconcentro. ¿Para qué? No, the first activity is like, okay, one activity that you can do is they to draw their own name on a piece of paper.
Okay, teacher.
So even if you cannot recognize them or you cannot remember their names, you can call them by their names. Okay,
Okay, teacher. Yes, okay, teacher. See, yes.
right?
This is an example on the readings. No,
Hmm.
uh, uh, write the name on a paper on his and stick
On there.
on their chairs
Okay. On the shirts.
on their chairs. Yes, teacher.
Yes, not short, shirts.
Cheers.
Okay, right. Okay, Jaime Fernando. We are going to continue. Thank you for that comment. We are going to continue with Luis Carlos. He has raised his hand. Okay, Luis
Okay, teacher.
Carlos, go ahead. Tell Jaime.
After I think I could not raise my hand, I finally could. I found the option, but well,
Yeah.
that's not the point.
Okay, right.
Well, I've talked about the weaknesses that I think I have, and I came up with two that worry me a little bit, and sometimes I get a little frustrated with them. First of them is um, assessing students. I have 18 students in my classroom on Saturdays usually, and sometimes just like keeping track of what they say, how they say it, it's super difficult for me. I mean, I know more or less the level they have, but sometimes I can just, if I were asked to, I wouldn't be able to like prove what they're saying, and like prove if they are good or not. And if they ask me, are you completely sure they're good enough to pass to the next level? Sometimes I'm not sure. So I think I have a problem assessing at least so many students at the same time. If I could just call them one by one, maybe I could sort it out differently. But we use alternative assessment at the institute. So I think assessment is one of the biggest difficulties I have. And I think related with the number two that I'm just going to get at, and it is achieving an authentic English objective. I mean, an authentic communicative objective. Because sometimes I think of the objective I want for my class, but the activities I develop with students during the class do not happen in real life situations. So they just kind of do the exercise, but that won't happen in real life. I mean, the situations I could propose, they don't have those don't happen in real life. So sometimes I think on that and I say I could have done better, or I just can't come up with something. It takes time. It takes time. It's very difficult, at least for me.
Hmm.
Um, and about my strengths, I would say two. Number one is that I think I'm kind of creative. I still don't feel that creative, but when something happens in the classroom or when I just lose control about the planning I had because there is another topic popping up, or for example, they call me for a substitution, I can come up with some activities to keep the class going or to keep the students entertained, or sometimes if they're what I'm doing it's too boring or I just didn't think of it in advance, I can just like switch fast, or I think so that I do switch fast to another activity that I can be related to a topic, but and I can get to engage them again. I think that's one strength I have. And number two, maybe my grammar and my vocabulary, because sometimes the students ask me questions about vocabulary, and I've come to realize that most of the word they ask me, I know them. There was a point in the very beginning when I started teaching that there weren't that many, and I thought I didn't know enough. But now I think the opposite,
Hmm.
and that's it.
And Luis Carlos, what kind of strategies have you thought to like to improve, not to improve, but to overcome the difficulties that you found in your teaching?
Well,
What
just
have you thought?
thinking a little bit more in advance, not thinking just about the grammar that I want to teach. For example, sometimes happens that I think something like, for example, okay, simple present is for routines, habits, and general truths and facts. And sometimes I focus on the usage of this grammar, but not in a real life situation. So I'm trying
Hmm.
to do the opposite. Like, okay, in real life, what do I do? For example, if the unit has to do with the unit in the book has to do with objects in your house. Okay, how can I relate this? And I think no, I want them to describe what they're doing. living room, or if they want to throw a party, they can tell their friends to do or not to do certain things, or maybe just like try to go a little beyond something that they find interesting, because I know they're bored of expressing their routine, like
Yeah,
what they do every day. They already know they wake up, they take a shower, they brush their teeth,
and
blah 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 blah.
actually
So
that is something that you don't do that. Oh, I mean, you don't explain your routine every day.
exactly, that's something you never do. So
You ne-
maybe they
just in English
explain,
classes. You just do that in
yeah,
English classes. That's it.
in English classes at schools.
Yeah.
So I want, for example, if they practice soccer, where I say, okay, do you have a hobby? Okay, let's do a show and tell. Tell us what your hobby consists of. Okay, soccer is a sport that
Mhm.
that has 11 players on the field,
But
and
those
they get to know the vocabulary. They know, and also communicate something they would be interested in. I'm just mentioning things.
Yeah, and that's something that it is very important to take into account, and it is for everybody that we have to promote that interest, those interests they have, and use them in order they to learn, right? So pay attention to this example. This is very good. I know that some of you do it as well. You does it, sorry. Some of you really do what you have to do, but this is something that we can also incorporate in our own teaching practice that has to do with paying attention to what our students are interested in and use that. Don't impose kind of topics that they are not really into.
And
Okay.
use it in real communication.
Yeah, real communication. That's a point.
I've
Some
struggled with this.
teachers are afraid of using real communication situations because they say that the students don't have the ability or they don't know the vocabulary or so and other things. But believe me, it is not an excuse. They can do it. Well, even using Spanish and English at the same time, there is not any problem. Okay, so let's continue with Noemi. She has raised her hand. So please, Noemi.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Hello, teacher.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, do you listen to me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, okay. About my weaknesses and my strengths, may I say that, for example,
And
I think
remember,
that.
Noemi,
Tell
strength,
me,
strengthens, strength,
strengthens. Ah,
strength.
I
No
didn't know that
strange
word.
because the strange sounds very strange.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay.
So I need to say that the main problem I face when I start to work in the school is the time. We are always running with the time. So we are always running, always something is happening, so you don't have enough time to explain your class. So what I did, because they are coming from another subject, their mind is having another things in mind. So you need to put them in context in English class, no? So what I do now is that I have already a small guía. How I can say guía in English? Forget guía.
A, a small what?
Una guía.
A guide.
A guide. Sorry, I forget it. A guide, a small guide, and I give for each one of them, where I can explain exactly the subject and they don't lose time writing in that moment, because in that moment they are just focusing in what I am explaining. So it gives me time to do more activities with the topic. And for example, I always put them in the context. For example, I was explaining, for example, this, that, this, those. Yes. So after that, in the context, I put them to play. Like for example, we are in USA and we are in a mall. We are in a small, for example, in Mangos, and you can buy anything you want. So choose please what you want to buy. No, okay, please me that blouse, or give me these shoes, or give me this jacket, or give me those sunglasses, and they are happy because they are thinking, oh my God, I take all the flashcards from the walls and I put into their school bags, and they feel happy because they really think that they are buying things. No, I put them in the context. For example, in another course, the topic is simple past simple. So what I was playing today is I was a police officer, and I am making an investigation about who is. I am looking for a suspect, yes, for homicide, yes. I am
Yeah.
playing I am the police officer, and they need to explain me what they did the last Saturday. So they start to explain everything for me in simple past, and they were happy because I put songs about the every. I put a lot of songs out of the sirenas, no sé cómo se dice eso en inglés, of the
Siren.
cars. Yes, and I put small audios of the real context of
They
the
made it.
situation, so they feel happy
Mm-hmm.
and they participate. So I manage better now some guides and put very good examples in that make them to feel in context.
Mm-hmm.
And my weaknesses, I need to speak less Spanish.
And why?
Because I have that problem. I think it's a problem, no? Because sometimes they don't have, for example, I am in a third grade and they still don't know the pronouns. They don't know. They don't have a good. They don't have a good English knowledge from the latest course they had, no? So sometimes I need to explain them in Spanish because they don't remember anything. So I need to
But
start from zero.
what do you explain? What kind of things
Because
do you explain?
I used to explain just the things that are similar in Spanish. So I use the mother language as a base to understand
Yeah.
and to learn the second language.
Yeah, I understand that, but I would like to know what topic. For example, give me an example, short example, maybe.
Okay.
What things do you explain in Spanish? For example, do you have class today?
Yes.
What thing did you explain in Spanish today? Explain a little bit for us, please.
Okay. I have many classes, but for example, I was in third grade, and I am looking the present simple, the daily routines, and they even don't know the pronouns. So they start to read, for example, I wait they to read to say, I get up 5 in the morning, for example, and they start to read, y read. No, no. So I explain to them, no, this is not the pronunciation, like, esta no es la pronunciación. Tú necesitas pronunciarlo de esta otra manera. Eso yo les explico en español y enseguida les explico la pronunciación. Si yo no hago esa pausa en español de que no lo están pronunciando bien, ellos no me entienden cómo es la verdadera pronunciación, por ejemplo. O no me ponen atención porque como no entienden muchas cosas, para, cuando ellas están, por ejemplo, que no me quieren participar, if they don't want to participate, I start to speak all the time in English, and they start to focus all the attention. Yes. When I have all the attention of them, so I reduce la carga cognitiva, and I start to explain all the things in order.
In order. Okay, so the problem is pronunciation.
Yes, pronunciation, no, most of the time. Yes, and knowledge that they are already forgotten.
As they are in third grade, and I think that Tanya agrees with me, you can use phonics. No
I can
phonetics.
use what?
Tanya is agree. Tanya agrees. Is agree. Sorry. Acabo de cometer un error de Spanglish. And Tanya agrees with me that using phonics is very useful.
used
What is
to,
phonics,
yes,
teacher? Sorry.
phonetica.
Phonetics, but not phonetics. Phonics is a simple way of saying the phonetics
Mhm.
for children.
Okay.
Sounds, for example, the sounds of the vowels, or
Uh-huh.
for
Or
example,
the
A. A with the image, and the image is apple.
Okay.
yes. So you can look for some material based on phonics, no
Okay.
phonetics, phonics.
Phonics.
Okay.
And you can use those phonics at the beginning of the class. Try to
Teacher,
incorporate phonics a little
I'm
bit.
sorry.
Yes, Tanya?
Okay.
I don't know if there is a visual. I don't
Yes,
remember
it's
the
visual.
name.
It's a visual aid.
A visual phonetic visual, something like this.
Yeah.
Is the idea to do with kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, the idea of
In
phonics is exactly that, to relate the sound with something that they know and
with
start
an image.
with an image and start relating that pronunciation. So they are going to get
Mhm.
familiar with the pronunciation and they are going to start pronounce it correctly. Yeah, it is
Okay.
understandable. It is understandable that if they are in third grade, they read as if they were reading Spanish.
Yes.
Mhm.
Understandable at a certain point, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah, it's not all of them for sure.
uh-huh. And I am sure that some of them can understand when you pronounce, but they don't understand when you read, when you write. You understand?
Yes. Yes.
So you have to
Yes,
look for
teacher.
like that balance. Mhm.
Maybe it's an example. I don't understand a word if I don't write it. I think maybe it's happened the same with them.
Mhm. Yes,
Okay,
it is.
very good.
Yeah.
Actually, because they are in the process, uh, you know, this is for second language acquisition. I don't know if you have studied that thing, but second language acquisition theories has to do with how we acquire a language. If we pay attention to how we acquired our mother tongue, we didn't acquire our mother tongue by reading. It was by listening
Yeah.
and
Yes.
then
I'm
speaking.
sorry.
That's
Yes.
the
Okay.
natural way of things. And remember, I don't know if I had told you before, it is not the whole sentence at once. When we started speaking Spanish, we started with words.
Yes. Okay.
Later, the sentences appear.
Syllabus.
Mhm. But this
Yes.
is something that is normal for them. Okay, so you have to be patient in this case and try to help them to improve, to make the relationship between the sound and the writing. That's very simple. But
Very
remember
good.
to use phonics, okay, or to use the words that they can read better or easily. Yep.
Very good, teacher. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you, Noemi. Rafael, don't worry about your lateness. I know that you are always on time. Okay, so let's continue with someone else. I would like you to read what you
Me,
wrote.
teacher.
Tanya, go ahead.
Well, I don't know if we are speaking about some activities related to realia. It's pretty similar.
Mm-hmm.
For example, in my case, in preschool, we use a lot of realia with kids. For example, today, uh, we do an activity uh, that kids that kids were chefs, and we made cookies. And in that activity, we involved the different vocabulary that we worked during the week, and it is so I don't know, significant. Maybe that's the word.
Meaningful?
Meaningful, yes. For the kids, I'm sorry, and the knowledge is better than if you teach a traditional class.
Okay, but remember, Tanya, that the exercise was to analyze your weaknesses as well. What
Mhm.
are your weaknesses?
Well, maybe in that kind of activities,
No, okay, yes, yes. It is supposed that you have to analyze your own video. Remember that was
yes,
the homework. Okay, so
yes. Well, it's a comparison that I need to do. For
okay,
example, in my real life in school, that kind of activities are meaningful, of course. But in this case, for example, with my 3 students, it's a little bit complicated because of the age, because of the different knowledge that they have. So, for example, Realia is not too functional with they. But I need to think in different activities to do with my students. Well, in the video, I noticed that the kids were a little bit shy. I don't
yes.
know why. But I need to find different activities to to I don't know, to try that they produce more in second language, because I know that they know and they understand me, but I don't know what activities do with that 3 kids.
Mhm. That
That's
is
my
that
problem.
is something that in from the second language acquisition theories, it is
Hmm.
called affective filter. Remember?
Yes.
Do you remember the affective filter? Affective filter is that thing that they feel scared or they feel anxious or they feel certain kind of feelings that doesn't sorry that don't allow them to
Yes.
participate or to understand or to learn. So the idea is to try to look for alternatives to reduce the affective filter.
Okay.
It doesn't have to do with English classes. I mean, not directly and not always. If you can do something in English to reduce affective filter, you can do it. But one other thing is that they can feel comfortable with what
Yes.
they do, like feel like in a safe environment. You have to make them feel that they are in a safe environment in which they can participate. So your attitude has to do with that as well. I know that you are a very good teacher for those grades because I have watched your videos
Yes.
very often, and I know that your approach to them is like a mother to their children. However,
Hmm.
you have to start identifying how they feel more comfortable. Because as you told me at the beginning of this semester, you are in a new school, right?
Yes.
I mean, you are in
Okay.
a different school.
Yes. This
Mhm.
year, yes. Well, and I don't know, but I think that maybe that attitude, my students would be I don't know, maybe because was the first class, and well, I think that I don't know, maybe the first class, they are different people. I don't know. Maybe that aspects can affect
Yes,
a little
it
bit.
can affect. Those kind of factors can affect the rapport that you can have with your students. And it is kind of normal, okay? But
Yes.
I'm sure that little by little you're going to find a way. You're
Yes.
going to find a way to make them feel more comfortable.
Yeah, it is a process too.
Yeah, and it is with time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Indeed.
Okay,
Thank you.
Tanya. Thank you. Thank you, Tanya, very much. Okay, so let's continue. Who wants?
Me, teacher,
Sarah.
Sarah.
Sarah. Yes, Sarah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. I have been a tutor in English since 2012. I had never taught in a real classroom with 30 or 40 students. My classes are individual and at home. For this reason, I often explain specific points or topics because parents want that their students pass the test or win English in their school. I only have had a group maximum for students in where I could do my performance as a teacher. During this time, I realized about my weakness and skills or talents. I consider that one of my main skills that I have is to encourage my students to write something that they really want. But in this case, the motivation is to learn a second language, such as English language, obviously. Other skill I think or I consider is my ability on technology. I usually mix my knowledge in technology with English, so students feel confident with this kind of exercises because they really interact and enjoy activities made of technology such video games, conversation, dialogues. And I had introduced many things that I have learned at the university, like the creation of avatars, blogs, videos, and Practicum. And in another hand, I think that my main weakness is the pronunciation. In some cases, not all the time. And I should allow to my students think quickly in some specific moments during my classes because I usually take the control that I said in the last classes or in the last Thursday. Mm, I really want to have the experience in a real classroom, and I am asked for this situation once on my friends. I'm looking for this opportunity, and I hope to get that soon. I can say that
Oh,
about my experience.
but I am sure that you are going to do a very good job when you have your classes,
I
right?
thank you, teacher.
Because I have watched also your videos, and I think that you have that charisma to be a teacher, at least to have them focus on what they want to do or what they need to do, right? So it is
Thank
very
you.
very important. Um, but I don't know, Sarah.
Yes.
Uh, your weaknesses as teacher. Okay, uh, I know that we are evaluating ourselves and we are seeing what happens or what could we improve, right? So something I am not talking about you, Sarah. I'm talking in general. Uh, right? Something that we have to pay attention is the objective of the classes. I mean, as Sarah mentioned, what she wants to do is to have the students involved on the activities and also to learn the language. So we can do both things at the same time, and this is what we are looking for with these strategies of task-based, problem-based, whatever of those kind of things. We are trying to look for they get involved more and more often. Okay, so those are things that you have to pay attention for your next planning. Please remember something: the planning is not for the it's not for me. The planning is for your students. So think of your students first. This is my recommendation, my general recommendation. Okay, so thank you, Sarah, for your comments. Uh, Believe me, I am sure that you are going to be a great teacher as well as all of in this class, as of course. And we are going to continue talking with somebody else. Let's
Okay, thank you.
listen to Wilton. Wilton is very brief.
Hello, teacher.
Hi, Wilton.
Hi, classmates. Well,
Why are you so serious?
no, teacher. Um, I don't think so. So my weaknesses are, well, I was thinking about what I was doing last class, and I noticed that there are some times that I want to control the class, as I told you last class that
Hmm.
we were talking about.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes I I I I feel controlled by the camera because the idea is to make them feel good, to make them feel comfortable during the class. But sometimes I think they're they can't speak as much as as I want. And I think just sometimes to I would like them do something different or speak more, but I know this is a process. But I think sometimes I get confused and I stress myself trying to make them speak or things like that. I think that's a weakness, um, and
Hmm.
I yes, could be. And another thing, and I would like to say is that in my case is it seems like to Sarah, or it's like to Sarah's case, because sometimes I I teach some classes, but in music as a musician, no as an English, and I think it's a little bit different because all the time I'm working on making orchestra or things like that, playing with many instruments and do things like that, but it's not the same. And I hope um, soon I'm going to do it because these days I'm trying with a group of garden, and I think it's different. It's another group that is not in the video, but it's a good experience as well, because I'm noticed that kids are um, attending the class, or they're paying attention all the time because I'm playing with the piano, I'm singing songs, I'm trying to let them to speak or to identify some commands, and I think it's something for starting.
Hmm. I want to ask you something. What are the differences that you find between teaching music and teaching English?
Maybe the experience, teacher,
The what, sorry?
the experience that I have teaching music classes,
Uh-huh.
because maybe you stand up in front of them and you give on some papers and they can read them, and it's better. And I think about that is the loss of control that I have in my English classes, because in music classes we are controlling most. You have to do this, please read it, and you're doing this wrong, please do it better. This it doesn't sound like this, please listen to me, or I'm going to help you.
If I
But it's
if I listen and I pay attention to what you are saying, for me it's the same thing that we do in English classes.
well, could be, but maybe I don't see like that.
So you have to
Because
start
all
saying
the
it like
time
that.
we say, for example, we're going to say, okay, we're going to play this song. Please read the papers and count. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's play it because they know how to play some instruments, but it's not the same because they starting from zero in English. But my students, my music students are, or they have some, or intermediate level, and they know
Yeah.
how to do some things. And I think the most difficult is to to hope or to wait for them do as fast as I get the results with the music process in my students.
Okay,
Right?
I agree in a certain to a certain extent, but I disagree because for me teaching English is like teaching music.
Maybe, teacher. I'm not saying that it's not the same, but I'm saying that I feel
Yeah,
different.
but you have to start seeing, or you have, yeah, I mean, you have to start relating more with this part of teaching English as something that you really like. And I'm going to tell you something. I really enjoy. I have told you before that I enjoy your classes when I watch them because you use music all the time. You use this. You create this environment of starting, like creating. You create a dynamic in the class that makes them feel relaxed, comfortable, they want to move, and this is something that is very interesting. I suppose that is related, or it is because you are a musician that you use this kind of strategies. But I can tell you, you are doing a very good job. Okay, so you have
Thank
to
you, teacher.
what you have to do is feel it, and really uh, think that you are a good teacher in English. Okay,
Okay, teachers. Thank you. Thank you.
and I am not lying.
I'll do it.
I know I'm not a liar. Okay,
Yes, teacher. I know that. Thank you.
for everybody, you have to believe that you are teachers. You are not students. You are teachers. Okay, and most of you are really teachers. Okay, thank you, Wilton. So
You're
I
welcome,
think
teacher.
that we are going to continue with Rafael. Rafael, a recommendation, Rafael.
Yeah,
Try
teacher,
to
good
be
evening.
try to be brief. Okay,
Sorry, I'm very talkative.
a little bit.
Sorry. So it is a weakness or what?
Maybe if you are in a language class where your students have to interact, the fact that you speak too much maybe could be can affect the classes. But
Okay.
I'm not saying it that in a bad way. Okay, so
No, yeah, I know, I know.
okay,
And thank you for the recommendation. Well,
okay,
teacher, I have to tell you and well to my partners also that in my personal experience as a teacher, well, I just have had the opportunity to teach for about 3 years in schools. And well, currently I'm not teaching. I'm just recording the classes. And well, when I was teaching in classrooms, well, some of my weaknesses has to do with the large classes. Um, it has been difficult for me to like to manage, and well, I don't know if you understand because to manage or to control a little bit 35 or 37 students is kind of difficult. And this issue causes stress on me when the students they are not paying attention, they are bothering with the cell phones when they are talking with the other partner when they are not. I mean, they are disengaged. They have no well their motivations they don't want to study and want. It's difficult. I don't know how to. I don't know if this happens just to me, but it has been difficult for me to improve it, like to get better at that. I have bad memory, so I forget a lot of vocabulary, and when I'm talking, sometimes I don't remember the words or. But this is like weakness that I have. Well, I don't know if this is a weakness, but I think that I'm too flexible, and sometimes, well, I feel too much compassion about the students, and I give a lot of opportunities for them to submit activities, and well, because they are in trouble and all kind of these things. My strengths has to do with the empathy. Well, I think that this helped me to understand how the students feel and to be comprehensive with them. I think that I'm coherent when I explain topics. I think that I try to clarify everything, and when the students they don't understand, I repeat and everything and all that. I have self confidence, and I try to transmit this feeling to my students, and when they are learning and they are doing something. And well, also I am a good listener. So when they have problems or apart from classes, apart from the topics, sometimes we talk about, and they tell me some problems they have in their personal lives, and I try to give advices, piece of advices for them, and like to try to help them in the personal lives. I think it's that, teacher. I try to be brief.
You have to. Okay, you were very brief today. That's good.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rafael. Classroom management is a thing that many teachers are worried about. But again, I think that it is I mean, it is the issue is how we see the classroom management or how we understand the classroom management. If we stick to the literature, we are going to see, and you could see that in the reading, that classroom management is the organization, is like the dynamics that you can promote in the classroom. So it is not about the control of the class, but it's controlling what happens in the classroom, right? But it is different from control, like a rigorous control, right? You have to be very clear about that. Yeah,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Exactly. You
Well,
don't
I
need
was talking about the discipline, and.
exactly. You don't need to be strict like that teacher, that famous teacher from the movies. I don't remember her name. Tronchatoro. You don't have to be that way,
Yeah.
right? You have to create a rapport. Remember that.
Matilda.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
Exactly, Matilda. So you have to create the environment. Remember that in the first part of the reading, when you talk about how teachers, there are some qualities, there are some roles, there are some things that you have to start paying attention, some attitudes, some ways of being. So those kind of things are very important in order
Yeah.
to have the manage of your class, not the control. That
Yeah.
sounds different. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you.
much, Rafael.
You.
Okay. Let's see. Cesar, are you there?
Yes, sir. I am here.
Yes, you are there. Okay, Cesar.
Yeah, thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening, teacher. How are
We
you?
were talking. I don't know if you watched the video from last class. No, but you attended last class.
Yes,
Eh,
I attended, but I had to leave because I couldn't listen well.
uh-huh.
I've been having troubles with my internet, so it was like um, cutting the signal, and I couldn't listen well. So I got tired of that, and I better just left the class.
Okay, right. Last class we proposed, or I proposed an activity that you have to watch your own video and pay attention to
Yes,
what things
sir.
you think you need to improve or what things you think you are good at, right? So like your weaknesses and your
Yes,
strengths. So what
yes,
could you
sir.
identify?
Okay, teacher. But first of all, I would like to say that that day, that class, it wasn't as I expected. Why? Because at the beginning, okay, currently in this year, I'm not teaching, I'm not in a classroom, but I had to do a replacement because I was
Mm-hmm.
forced to do the replacement in that classroom with 4-2. So I went there, and the place that I reserved, that I booked, that it was audiovisuales too. It wasn't a classroom. Uh, I had lots of troubles with the TV, with the audio, with the AC, because in the same day at that time, it was an activity for 11 graders who were going to present the effects thing
Take.
on Sunday. So they were having an activity that day with the people from audiovisuals and those things. And also, it was an activity related to the Women's Day. So it was a mess in the school. So I had to do it by myself. I had to look for. I couldn't use the camera that I usually use. So I had to take a phone. Somebody lent me a phone because my phone doesn't have enough space. So, and talking about the class, the thing was that I don't know the students. That was my first time in that classroom. So I don't know their names. I don't know how to treat them. I don't know how to have an empathy with them. Yeah. So I
Mhm.
had to do it, and finally I did it. But it took me lots of time to do certain of activity, and I couldn't do the whole of the activities that I planned because it was they need to write. I want them to write something and create some questions, and then ask them ask around these questions. So it was a reading, listening, reading, writing, and speaking activity. But I barely could do only the listening and some kind of the writing. What I identify is that I was happy in that classroom with that class because at the beginning I was afraid that they couldn't understand well. As you know, I used to be with some students of ninth graders who have a grade level, and I was afraid of those they couldn't understand it, but they understood. They could participate. They spoke, and they could identify everything I was saying or the video that I showed them. Uh, they identified, and they could follow the activities. But I'm not happy because of because I couldn't do the whole activity that I planned. And that class was split in two moments, before and after the break. And I didn't expect it, as I told you. But talking about the question that you asked me, what I liked is that it wasn't that difficult to have a good, let's say, like good relationship with the students, who to get in touch with them. It wasn't. I liked it that in some cases I had to maybe reduce the speed of my speaking because of them. I couldn't identify it in the right moment. Sometimes I forgot it, but the students didn't say a thing. They were happy. At the end of the activity, I make like a survey, or I asked them, "Did you like the activity?" Yes, teacher, it was amazing. We never do the kind of things. Um, so I ended up like happy for that. For that, what I didn't like it was, as I told you, and I like the way I did it. Sometimes as you were saying with the other student, our classmate Rafael and somebody else is known. You have to trust that you're an excellent teacher when you're in front of those students. Sometimes I think that I'm missing a lot of things, and yes, I am missing lots to become of being an excellent teacher. But seeing it, and I saw video, I could see like I like them, and I have the the in the moment when I'm teaching and when trying to do student activities, and when I said that the students are following. So I felt proud, but sometimes I felt embarrassed because of I couldn't finish it.
Mhm.
I couldn't do most of the things.
Hello, Cesar.
Hello, yes,
Yeah. Okay. Continue.
that's it,
Continue.
teacher.
I'm listening. Okay.
No,
That's it.
no,
Okay.
that,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Thank you, Cesar. You have to be brief as well. Okay. Next time.
Okay.
Thank you, Cesar. I know that it is difficult when you face a group for the first time. It is very difficult. But
Yes, sir.
anyway, you are experienced. So that's something good, right?
Yeah. Yes, it
Okay,
is.
very good. Okay, as Carolina has arrived, I would like to listen to her uh, about the questions that we have for this class today. Hi, Carolina.
Hello, teacher. Hello, teacher. I'm so sorry.
Don't worry.
Okay. I did the exercise, and actually, I think that as a teacher, I feel that I have the most important role in the class, and I don't know if maybe that is a problem sometimes because I need like I think that I need to know everything and to control like everything that is happening in the classroom, inside and outside of the classroom. So sometimes I'm too worried about or actually sometimes, yeah, I am too worried about the vocabulary or the grammar, like structures and these kind of things. And I don't concentrate on real skills, like on communicative skills, or maybe something that the students can feel more comfortable about learning it. What else? I also consider that maybe I didn't have to speak Spanish like at any time, um, even if the kids don't understand, because sometimes I get like, oh my god, they don't get the message, so I change the language and I use Spanish, and I think that maybe that's something that I have to improve. And what else? And I actually had the same problem as Cesar, because during that week, the school was celebrating the science fair, so I had to split the class into sections. So I think that that is something that like doesn't help to the well development of the class. Actually, what I do in the positive way, like my strengths, I think that I try to show students like how beautiful English is and actually how easy it is to learn. I propose activities that maybe like at least one or two, like in the whole lesson plan, that maybe they can talk about real life, they can express opinions or experiences. So I think that is something like very important for them, and actually they enjoy it more as if they, for example, play with vocabulary or with flashcards. I know that is very important and meaningful, but actually I think that for the ages of my students, this will be like better if we talk about their experiences, or what they like to do, like I don't know, like to connect the contents with like the real world. What else? Yeah, I think that is like that is what I need to improve, and actually what I need to continue working on.
Okay, thank you, Carolina.
Okay.
Carolina mentioned something that some of you have also repeated, and it is like that connection, to look for that connection with your students. I would like you to pay attention to the following activity, or the next activity, or I mean, after this, for the next week, no, for this week, is the lesson plan number 2. So I would like you to start thinking on your lesson plan from the perspective that you analyzed today. I mean, from those things that you think you need to improve. So propose those activities that are going to help you to start improving that aspect uh, that you feel weak, and to continue enhancing the other aspects that you feel you are strong about, right? So pay attention
Okay.
to those things. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, teacher.
And let's experiment. Don't be afraid of experimenting in your class. I know that
Okay.
sometimes you feel the problem is, and I know that the problem is, Wilton said something, you feel afraid of the camera. I have to confess, I will feel the same if I were you. Because I am afraid of cameras, I am afraid of recordings. Actually, I don't know how I am recording my voice on this class, but I am overcoming that fear. And I understand it. And second, don't think about what I want to see. This is something that I have repeated since the very beginning of the teaching Practicum 1. It is not about what I want. It's about who you are as teachers, and you are finding the way, right? I have noticed today with your comments that you are starting understanding. Most of you have understood already, but some of you are understanding on that process of understanding who you are as a teacher. So it is very important to recognize yourselves and who and what you can do. Okay, so I want to see that on your lesson plan. I don't want you to like let's say pretend to be an excellent teacher, because nobody is an excellent teacher. I mean, not in the sense that people think. Not everything is perfect. An excellent teacher is the person who can solve the problems uh, of their classes, and who can have their students uh, have, yes, made their students feel happy. This is the teacher I am looking for, actually. So that's my proposal. I mean, this is my proposal. This is your task for next class. Additionally, pay attention to this. The homework for today, I mean, it was not mandatory you to send me anything, because it is not, but you have to write the paragraph, remember. Okay? Jaime Fernando read the paragraph. I suppose that you wrote the paragraph, so please save that paragraph, because we are going to continue working on that paragraph till the end. During the second session, you are going to record yourself as well, and you are going to make the same exercise. and we are going to make like the comparison. What happens? What is happening? And with the third recording, we are going to do the same. Yeah. So the idea is to start reflecting. Yes, really reflecting. And I don't know if you have noticed the reflection from last semester was like a technical reflection. You was telling what happened in a very technical way. Now in this exercise, what you did was a little more uh, expressive, let's say. You express better what you think about your own teaching process. So that's what I am looking for, that you continue doing that thing. Okay? Questions, complaints, problems, suggestions. I am all ears.
In my case, I don't have anything
Anything?
to ask or to
Sure.
complain.
Okay.
Maybe
It's clear for
maybe
me.
teacher about the grades.
Ah, yes,
Well, great.
Grace.
Yeah, for example, the workshops we sent to you, I think that they were two in groups, and the grade for the class, I think so. I don't know. I don't remember very well.
Yes, do you remember, teacher, that we had divided one of the activities in group into
Yeah.
parts?
Yes.
And there are another activity in group, the
Yes.
second one.
Okay.
So
Yes. I have to update the grades. That's what you mean.
exactly.
Okay. Right. I'm going to apologize myself. I don't know if you remember that I am moving or that I have moved from one city to another. So I am in like in that process. So maybe it's for the reason that I forgot. But don't worry. This weekend I'm going to be devoted to fix all the grades for this class. Okay.
Okay, teacher. No worry.
Okay.
I
Don't
didn't
worry,
know
teacher.
nothing about your move.
No, I didn't.
You
I didn't. I didn't tell you.
no,
No,
no, we
teacher, we
didn't
didn't
know.
know that.
You did it.
Uh,
Where where are
I
you
Where
don't.
are you
now?
moving to?
Where are
Oh.
you living?
I live now in Neiva, Huila.
Really?
Oh,
Yes.
that's so nice.
I am a full-time teacher in a public university here. So I moved.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Congratulations.
Yeah, teacher.
Thank you.
Congratulations, teacher.
Thank you. That's something that we have to, something that I have to face because it is a different culture, a different
Yes.
way of seeing things. So it is nice. It is interesting. I like it.
It will be. It can be worse when you move abroad and you get a position in a university abroad.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yes, I know. So I prefer to be here in my country. I love my country. Okay.
You're
Okay.
becoming an opita.
Yes, and actually I have the roots. My father and my mother are from here.
Ah, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Back to the roots.
yeah, right. So everybody's invited here to come to the events in Huila, in Sur Colombiana University. Okay. Okay, guys.
Thank you.
So thank you for the activity today. I hope that you have understood what my intention was, and
Yes.
see you next time. Okay.
Thank you, teacher. You're always
Thank you,
Thank you.
a
Thank
teacher.
you.
very good
Thanks a
Okay.
lot,
teacher.
teacher.
Teacher, have a night, teacher.
Have a
Love your
nice night.
classes.
Thanks a lot.
Bye
Bye bye. Sleep
bye.
well.
See you.
Bye
Bye bye,
bye.
Bye,
guys.
Bye.
Thank you
Candice.
so much.
Have a
Okay.
nice weekend.
You
You
too.
too.
Thanks.
Same.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, teacher.
Bye.
Long weekend.
Long weekend, yes. With a holiday included, you're right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yay.
Not everything is bad. Yes.
Not everything. Okay, bye bye. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye bye.